Well, good evening, everyone. So, as Rick mentioned, I've been collecting stuff from coin clubs all across the country and several across the world for many years. I have quite an extensive collection of wooden nickels, medals, tokens, elongated bills, you name it, and they're in many multiple albums. And a number of times I have, during table topics, have talked about recent acquisitions that I have found from the PNNA. Some a few months back were auction catalogs that I'd never seen before. They aren't listed. But anyways, the PNNA, for those of you who don't know, is the Pacific Northwest Numismatic Association. And I have the website right there, pretty easy to remember, pnna.org. And I want to touch just for a quick second. The website is spectacular. I have been the newsletter editor here for 7 or 8 years, and I write for the South Hill Coin Club since 2016. I've been a newsletter editor, and part of my research, I research websites all across the country. And I can tell you that Eric Holcomb, our webmaster, who also belongs to this club, but now he lives in Oregon, has maintained it. He wrote the mint mark for the ANA for many years. He is fantastic. And this website, in my opinion, is by far and away the best website. I mean, it is just, it has more information, more different places to look for things, and a lot of this information that you've seen tonight comes from that website. But probably the two closest that rival it would be Fun in Florida, which is Florida United Numismatists, which is a huge organization, and the ANA itself. If you get a chance, look through this. You will find history, you'll find memorabilia, etc. Next. The PNNA was founded in 1940 by, the Seattle Coin Club, which was created in 1936, and the Oregon Numismatic Society that no longer exists. Now, they may have morphed and changed their names. I couldn't find that information out. But, so the PNNA has been around for 1940. Next. The PNNA is a nonprofit regional organization for numismatists. That's us. People who study, collect, or deal with coins, paper money, tokens, and metals. Again, right off the website. So I don't want to take any credit I'm not due. Next. No medals were issued for the first two PNNA conventions in Centralia, of all places, in 1940 and 41. There were no PNNA conventions in 42 through 45 because of World War II. That makes sense. The PNNA issued its first medal at the third convention held in 1946 in Centralia, Washington. Many additional memorabilia items such as medals and wooden nickels and now elongated coins came along over the years. Most of these items commemorate the annual conventions. Next. When you go out onto the website, and indeed everything that you see related to the PNNA has what's called the Cushing Catalog numbering system for the PNNA memorabilia. And it's named after an outstanding member I think Dell was a former president, right? Wasn't he, Rick? No, he fell asleep. But anyways, and unfortunately Dell passed away in 2018, but he had amassed such a massive collection, and a lot of it was sold to the PNNA. But when you go through, I won't bore you with all the details, the numbers in there are were created as the Cushing numbering system.
Done?
Yep. Instead of 1946, which I don't own, I do own the 1948. I had bought that just maybe less than a year ago. And I paid $30 for it. And again, it says Centralia. And back then, the abbreviation was WN, not WA as it is now. Held in 1948. And you can see on the reverse, it says Seattle Coin Club and Oregon Numismatic Society. And that was for their convention. They call it the 5th annual convention, so maybe. I forgot, I'll pass this around, you can look at it. This has the metals, elongated wooden nickels of the collection that I have put together over the years. Next. In 1953, I put this one up here because it was produced from aluminum. And you would think that, well, it was kind of cheap, right? Aluminum? But aluminum was actually a very valuable metal in 1953. It wasn't like nowadays where you see aluminum made for pop cans and everything else. It used to be rather spendy to produce, and at one time, aluminum was much more sought after than silver. Anyways, that's from the 10th annual convention. Next. In 1962, the reason I put this one up here, and this is for a couple of reasons. One, it's the 19th annual convention held in Seattle, Washington during the Seattle World's Fair, which this reverse is also new. It was adopted from this metal to be the official reverse of the PNNA during that time. But on here you can see where it says Century 21 World's Fair, April 21st through October 21st, 1962. And so I know a lot of you.
Do you have this one in your Seattle World's Fair collection as well?
Yes, I do. I have many multiples of that one.
For those of you who don't know, that Ray has published a web page devoted to memorabilia of the World's Fair, and I think it's the go-to one for most people.
Yeah, it not only all the coins, tokens, medals that were issued for the fair, but everything from lamps to walking sticks, canes, you name it. I actually created that, I want to say like 06 or 07, just to teach myself how to create a website, and secondly, because I had a massive collection of World Fair stuff. Next, please. This is from the 2005 PNNA convention. Now, all of this, I am just very lightly touching, because if you go out on the PNNA website, there has been a massive amount of medals and everything produced over the years. This guy here, Greg Frank Wiebe, unfortunately, he passed away in 2011. He would create his own dies, and he would do it in the way they used to do them many, many years ago, in hand-stamped coins. And so his dies kind of reflect that. And for quite a number of years, he would set up at the conventions. He would have dies and the planchettes, and you know, I don't know what he charged, $1 or $2 to go, and you could hammer your own and make your own coin. And the PNNA also had a bunch produced and would give them to the patrons who came through the coin show. But in the collection, you'll come across a section. There's quite a lot of them over the years that I've collected for the Greg Frank Wiebe medals. I actually met him, of all places, in 1991 for the 100th anniversary of the ANA. I attended the coin show in Chicago, and he was set up there, and you could hammer your own coin, and that was the first time I ever met him, long before I ever met him at a PNNA show. Next, please. The last medals produced by the PNNA for the show, and I clarify that because I think we made one for the 85th and that we sold. They made them in sets. You can see not very high, 60 silver, 200 copper, and 50 antique brass, including 30 edge-numbered sets, which were sold at premium prices. And that's for the 75th anniversary. I think I want to say didn't they also do a challenge coin in 75? For the 75th. I don't remember off the top of my head. But this was the last medal produced specifically for the shows. You know, no, we have the 85ths here that you know, we produced and have been selling those. But this was the last one for the shows. And then beginning in 1902, 2013, we started producing squish pennies, elongated coins at the shows. And this one is from 2015, denoting the 75th anniversary. Since 2013, over 40 different designs have been produced. You figure 2 shows a year, multiple Washington State Fairs, Boy Scout jamborees, all headed up by this guy right here. And I think he has probably designed most of them. And anything related to the PNNA and other stuff, you'll find Rick there with the machine making the squish pennies. Now, out of I don't know the exact number. I know that I don't have them all, and I have over 35 from the PNNA. So this is what we produce now for the coin shows. And I'm sure the one we just had in Willamette, was it? We had a new design, right? Next. Along with medals and elongated coins over the years, and this is just a few samplings, you'll find different stuff in the book. The PNNA produced quite a number of outsider numismatic product, I guess. Like this looks like a matchbook cover that had a penny in it for 1959. This is the first weird thing, right? And then this was for the 31st annual PNNA coin convention. It's a button that you wear, but on the back it has an in-case stamp, and there were, I believe, 5 different stamps because the U.S. Mint produced, for the bicentennial in 1976, you see that, 5 different designs for, I don't know, Continental Army, Navy, Air Force, whatever. So the PNNA produced those buttons. Also, they produced, back then, everybody, it was the law, and most of you remember this, you had to smoke as an adult. You know, your parents gave you a pack of cigarettes, I think, at your 10th birthday, and so everybody had matches in their pockets. So, of course, the PNNA produced matches, and I think they came in several different colors. I know this did. It came in, I think, 4 or 5 different colors. This, in 1996, we had a convention in Willamette, and this is a plastic medal or token or play money, I'm not sure, but just some of the weird stuff that the PNNA has come up with their shows. Next. All right, so we'll get to what you'll see in the book, the wooden nickels. They were first issued in 1949. The final issue was produced in 2006. In that span, there were 80 different types, colors, and varieties that were produced. Some years they might have 5 different colors or 2 different reverses. But, you know, in that, what is that, 55, 56 years or whatever that they produced them, there were over 80 different types. I have assembled one complete set of all the known issues, and I'm 18 pieces away from the second. Right? Now, I don't know if you want to read it, but in the book, before you hit to the wooden nickels, there is a sheet in there, the PNNA wooden nickels. The majority of the, well, probably 80% of the collection I bought from Robert Gabriel. Robert was and now is again the president of the IOWMC, which is the International Organization of Wooden Money Collectors. I think in Rhode Island or Massachusetts somewhere. Anyways, I belong to that club. It's a national club, and I've spoken with Robert many, many times over the years, and he knew that I collected Coin Club wooden nickel issues, and I ended up buying probably close to 1,000 different wooden nickels from him. Jan Hankey, who sadly passed away in, I think, 2018, he was a veteran of World War II that had lost both of his legs and eventually went blind, but he used to contact, back long before internet, all these coin clubs around the United States, and he would try and get at least 2 wooden nickels so that when he put them in the 2x2s, he could show both the front and the back. And I call them front and back in wooden nickels instead of obverse and reverse because we don't know. Anyways, and or different colors, designs, etc. And because, you know, he couldn't write very well anymore, he could hardly see, he typed all of his labels, and he would then cut them out and glue them on the 2x2s. Looks very nice. So when I merged his with mine, I had to take all of mine, put them in 2x2s, find out what font. I figured he was using a typewriter, so it was Courier New, and I think that was the font we were using. And so everything I put in there looks identical to his work too. And that's just kind of an homage to him. He resided in Fairfield, California. That's the wooden nickels. Next, please. So I just put up some. This is the first one that was ever produced in 1949, and you could see the Seattle Coin Club again and Oregon Numismatic Society. This was for the 6th annual convention in Centralia. I'll hold Centralia for just a second. This is in the 13th annual from 1956, because between 49 and 56, they didn't produce any wooden nickels. That's why I kind of used 56. And then, of course, because of my connection to the fair, this was produced in 1961 at the PNNA coin convention, and it said, "See you in 62." This Eugene, Oregon Coin Club hosted the 1969 PNNA, and you'll notice that on the outside of the wooden nickel, that ink was red, and so somebody took a red marker and marked them. Now, that's not unusual. They did that, all of them that they produced in red, and I think they also did it in blue and green, and they would draw around the wooden nickel. You see that as a wooden nickel collector once in a while. Not too many people do that. But I put that up just to show that. As a matter of fact, one of the ones I'm trying to get for my second set, I think was black, and is missing the black. I have the one with the ink around it, but it also came in without the ink, and I've been looking for that for a long time without the ink. I found them with the ink, but this is very interesting one. This is from the PNNA's 28th convention in 1973 in Spokane, and it was produced by the Inland Empire Coin Club. These are incredibly rare because, and a couple of you guys have produced your own wooden nickels here. You know what I'll be saying next. The planchet was made by hand, and they are 60 millimeters, 58 to 61 millimeters. But they were cut by hand, and then they were sanded. So the edges are kind of beveled because they hand sanded them. And this one is the red because the orange didn't show up very well. There's 5 different colors. The orange is incredibly rare. I own one, not 2, 1. So I was real tickled with that one. And this here was the PNNA convention in 1993. I put that in there just because I really liked that one. And this was the last one in 06 that was wood nickel that was produced. I think that's it. Is there any more? I think that was it.
We're done.
Any questions on PNNA memorabilia? Or anything about... We have in the club right here, we have the president, the secretary, board member, did I miss anyone? Board member for the PNNA. So we have at least 5 of the PNNA.
How complete was Dell's book?
I
I don't remember when he did that.
I never seen a book, but
Well, no, the one,
the
isn't that what I gave you to, was that the Seattle one?
that's I think Washington State or Seattle or
You're gonna take apart.
yeah.
Okay.
And I still have that sitting on my to-do pile. But from talking with Eric from time to time, I will send Eric an updated photo if I buy something that's in nicer condition than the one on the website. And, you know, there's no credit or anything. It's just, you know, oh, here's a new badge I bought.
So the Cushing numbers are just
The Cushing numbers are on the website, yes, and like I said, Eric has, I may be biased, but this was even before I became a board member of the PNNA. I think you guys he does just an absolute wonderful job with the website. And like I said, he created the Seattle Coin Club. He hosts that. Boeing's. He does quite a lot of web hosting, and he's a very talented guy. Well, you know Eric. I mean, he's very talented, and he is incredibly easy to talk to with something that's difficult or easy when it comes to collecting. Like I said, those auction catalogs that I sent him the photographs for, he said I had never seen them before. And that was coming from him, who's pretty much seen all that, because he is the one that photographed all of this stuff and put it in the website. And you can go into, and again, I'll just talk up the PNNA just a tad bit more. The PNNA is a regional coin club. The ANA, or American Numismatic Society, is the national coin club. So for all of you who are out there wanting to get more and more and more invested, I highly recommend that you go to both websites, because they're very educational, and you can learn an awful lot. You can see some of the titans of the industry have come through the PNNA and belong to the PNNA. So, it really is an impressive organization. For me, coin clubs in general, I collect.